Yesterday in St. John's, I committed to all 5 of these things. Mr. Carney has said he will do none of them. Expanding our energy production and exports is the single most powerful thing we can do to break our dependence on the Americans. And that is the very single thing that Mark Carney has explicitly said he will not do. So what is his plan? A resume is not a plan. Well, I talked to a First Nations chief from up north who wants the Ring of Fire, and I said, "Are the shovels in the ground?" He said, "The snow shovels." He said, "They've been waiting 5 years and spent $50 million on federal permitting for a road. Forget the mine itself. Let's get these delays out of the way." Canada needs a change to restore its promise. Canada is ready for that change. I am ready to lead that change. I am ready to be Prime Minister for our people, for our land, for Canada first, for a change. Let's bring it home. Thank you very much. There is a perverse incentive to ship money away, and that's why so much investment has left. Then there's the lock-in effect. Countless people hold on to tired old assets that they'd love to dispose of, but would face a walloping tax bill. So instead of disposing of it to someone who can do something better with it and using the proceeds to build new homes, launch a new factory, buy a new CNC machine or a conveyor belt, or launch a new technology, the money just sits dead. That's the lock-in effect. By allowing Canadians to sell existing investments and immediately reinvest it here in Canada, it will be like economic rocket fuel, launching our economy above and beyond the Americans, turning this into a dynamic, free market economy where we can show our strength and reward success. We want to reward hard work. Our seniors are punished if they choose on their own behest to go out and work. They get clawed back and taxed away. We'll let them earn up to $34,000 tax-free so that there's actually a benefit to sharing their wisdom and their contributions with our economy. And we will create Canada shovel-ready zones, areas that are pre-permitted for construction before we even receive an application. The way it will work is that online we will publish the standards and specs required to build power stations, pipelines, LNG plants, and more, but with permits that are already legally binding and granted, so that companies don't have to sit around for 7 years tying up billions of dollars of capital, something that has dissuaded them from being here. After the Liberals killed $178 billion of projects, many companies won't even try. But if they have pre-permitting and absolute certainty, they can get to work and get their shovels in the ground. One of those projects will be the Ring of Fire. I pledge to grant permits for the Ring of Fire within 6 months of becoming Prime Minister. Or I talked to a First Nations chief from up north who wants the Ring of Fire, and I said, "Are the shovels in the ground?" He said, "The snow shovels." He said, "They've been waiting 5 years and spent $50 million on federal permitting for a road. Forget the mine itself. Let's get these delays out of the way." As the great Bob Stanfield said, let's stop stopping and start starting. One example is the 14 biggest energy and resource companies wrote a letter to all of the federal leaders. And they said there's 5 things we need if you want us to make Canada economically independent from the Americans. 5 specific asks. 1, you need to repeal the No New Pipelines Law, C-69, and the tanker ban so we can ship our oil overseas. My answer? Yes. 2, grant decisions on major projects within 6 months rather than 17 years. My answer? Yes. 3, scrap the energy cap that will limit the amount of oil and gas we can produce while allowing foreign polluting countries to have an unlimited dominance in markets. So scrap the energy cap? My answer? Yes. 4, they said we must axe the industrial carbon tax, which makes it impossible for us to compete with Americans who have no such tax. Axe the industrial carbon tax? My answer is yes. And give Indigenous loan guarantees to help First Nations take equity positions and profit from the projects that happen on their land? My answer, again, is yes. Yesterday in St. John's, I committed to all 5 of these things. Mr. Carney has said he will do none of them. Expanding our energy production and exports is the single most powerful thing we can do to break our dependence on the Americans. And that is the very single thing that Mark Carney has explicitly said he will not do. So what is his plan? A resume is not a plan. Nor is continuing with the same policies that got us into this mess in the first place. In fact, he wants to put the Liberal policies on steroids. His housing plan, I don't know if you saw this earlier this week, he wants to create a government-run construction company that is going to make prefab tiny homes with no parking spots. This is his idea for housing. This is even more radical than the stuff that came from Stephen Guilbeault and Justin Trudeau over the last 10 years. This is not a serious plan to protect our economy and break our dependence. We need a serious nation-building plan to Trump-proof our economy. Mine will put Canada first. It is a plan for Canada that is richer and stronger than the one the Liberals left us. A plan to protect Canada from whatever choices, wrong choices, the President might make. So my message to President Trump is this: if you keep attacking our economy, over the next 4 years, under my Conservative government, Canada will become completely rebuilt as an economy that no longer is reliant on the Americans for everything. You will have lost your greatest trading partner and best friend. We will be a confident and strong country capable of standing on its own 2 feet, standing up to anybody that gets in our way, and moving forward to give our people back the Canadian promise. Some Liberal supporters and lobbyists have asked why I keep talking about the cost of living, housing, crime, and about the Liberal drug crisis instead of focusing exclusively on Donald Trump. My answer is this: the threat of the President's actions against Canada are serious, and I've proposed serious answers to those threats. But the struggles that Canadians are facing at home, the fear and the hurt that I hear everywhere across this land, those are real too. And I will not stop talking about these problems which predate Donald Trump and which will outlast Donald Trump if we do not act to fix them. Everyone is struggling with the cost of living. Young Canadians are stressed about never affording a home, bills they can't afford. Their parents worry that they might overdose, their children might overdose on fentanyl. And even those who are not afflicted with that scourge wonder how they'll ever move out of their parents' basement and have kids. Millions of Canadians have been living for years in what I call lives of quiet desperation. Their stories rarely make the evening news. So yes, I will be out there every day outlining my plan to protect Canada against American tariffs. But I will also unapologetically be out there talking about my plan to build more homes, get people off drugs and into recovery, fix the budget, keep inflation down, cap immigration so we never add more people than health care, jobs, and housing, get criminals off the street. We can do all of these things. We must do all of these things at the same time as we stand up to President Trump from a position of strength. My family owes this country everything we have, and therefore we have a duty to protect the same promise for those who will come after us. Canada needs a change to restore its promise. Canada is ready for that change. I am ready to lead that change. I am ready to be Prime Minister for our people, for our land, for Canada first, for a change. Let's bring it home. Thank you very much.